Welcome to the channel. Today we're exposing the silent killer of retirement savings. Unnecessary fees lurking in old 401k and IRA accounts. We'll show you how small quarterly charges and high annual fees compound into massive losses over time, and then walk step by step through a clean, low-cost rollover strategy that can save you tens of thousands of dollars. Let's get started. Here is today's roadmap. First, we'll quantify how fees destroy compounding. Next, we'll compare the two best rollover destinations. Then, we'll execute a step-by-step plan. After that, we'll discuss what to buy once the money lands. We'll follow with risk and tax guardrails. Finally, we'll wrap up with a recap and some quick quizzes to reinforce your knowledge. Let's start with the controversial truth. Many people leave retirement accounts with previous employers and get charged an ongoing mix of flat fees and percentage-based management fees. A typical example is a quarterly $25 fee, totaling $100 per year, combined with a 1% annual asset fee. On a $20,000 balance, that's already about 1.5% in drag, before even considering the fund's internal expense ratios. Over decades, this turns into financial sabotage, draining the power of compounding and crippling long-term outcomes. Let's quantify the damage. A $25 quarterly fee is $100 per year. On a $20,000 balance, that flat fee alone is 0.5%. Add a 1% assets under management fee, and you're around 1.5% in annual drag before even considering internal fund expenses. If the market returns about 7%, a 1.5% fee reduces your net return to roughly 5.5%. Over 30 years, $50,000 compounding at 7% might grow to roughly $380,000. At 5.5%, it's about $261,000. That's a difference of around $119,000 lost to fees. And that gap widens when internal fund expense ratios are added. You have two superior options. First, roll the old account into your current employer's 401k, assuming the plan accepts roll-ins and the fees are competitively low. The pros include potential institutional pricing, creditor protections, and administrative simplicity. The drawbacks are that not all plans accept roll-ins, investment menus can be limited, and fees may still vary. Second, open a rollover or traditional IRA at a major low-cost brokerage such as Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab. The advantages are minimal or zero account fees, a broad selection of low-cost index funds, and the ability to place the entire balance into a single, well-diversified target date index fund. Drawbacks include the need to set it up yourself, differing creditor protections by state, and the importance of avoiding indirect rollovers that can trigger taxes and withholding. Here is the exact process. First, open a new traditional or rollover IRA at a low-cost brokerage such as Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab. Second, gather your old account's latest statement and the custodian's details. Third, contact the new brokerage and request a direct trustee-to-trustee transfer. Speak with their rollover specialists who will pull the assets over for you. Fourth, avoid indirect rollovers where a check is made payable to you. Those can trigger 20% tax withholding and bring the 60-day redeposit rule into play. Fifth, track the transfer until the funds arrive in the new IRA. Sixth, invest immediately upon arrival to prevent sitting in cash and missing market days. Finally, choose a low-cost, broad-market target date index fund that aligns with your intended retirement date for a set-and-forget approach. Let's cover what to buy after the money lands. Target date index funds are one-fund solutions that start with a higher stock allocation and gradually shift toward bonds as you age. They are broadly diversified, low-cost, and automatically rebalanced, which eliminates the need for frequent maintenance. To select one, pick the fund closest to your expected retirement year, or, if preferred, choose based on risk tolerance. Always pay attention to expense ratios and aim for index versions, which are typically well under 15 basis points. This flowchart illustrates the entire decision and transfer flow. You begin at your old 401k or IRA and choose between rolling into your current employer's 401k or into a rollover IRA. If you pick the employer plan, you must verify it accepts roll-ins and confirm that the fees are low. If you opt for the rollover IRA, you open the account at a low-cost brokerage. In both pathways, the key action is a direct trustee-to-trustee transfer, so the money moves custodian to custodian without you taking possession. Once the funds land, you immediately invest in a low-cost, target-date index fund. A highlighted warning reminds you to avoid indirect rollovers and the 60-day redeposit window because they can trigger withholding and potential taxes. This table compares the long-run impact of fees, starting with $50,000. A 7% gross return with a very low 5 basis point fee leaves approximately 6.95% net, compounding to roughly $377,000 over 30 years. By contrast, at the same gross return but with 1.5% in annual fees, you net about 5.5% and grow to around $261,000. The difference is approximately $116,000, which represents the cumulative effect of persistent fee drag. Quiz time. Which rollover method best avoids taxes and withholding? Option A, an indirect rollover via a check payable to you. Option B, a direct trustee-to-trustee transfer. Option C, cash out and redeposit within 60 days. Option D, transfer to a taxable brokerage account. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B, a direct trustee-to-trustee transfer. This method keeps the money moving directly between custodians without you taking possession, thereby avoiding automatic tax withholding and reducing the risk of violating the 60-day rollover requirement. Here is a concise checklist in 3 parts. First, preparation. Identify every old account and its balance, and download the latest statements. If you have a current 401k, verify that it accepts roll-ins and compare its fees against a low-cost IRA. Second, moving money the smart way. Call the new custodian and explicitly request a direct trustee-to-trustee rollover. Decline checks payable to you to avoid the 60-day rollover trap and potential withholding. Third, invest immediately upon arrival. Purchase a low-cost target-date index fund that aligns with your retirement year. Enable electronic document delivery, and periodically review expense ratios to ensure they remain low. Second quiz. After your rollover settles, what is the most important next step to avoid losing growth days? Option A, leave funds in cash for a few months. Option B, immediately invest in your chosen low-cost index funds. Option C, wait for the market to dip. Option D, buy a high-fee active fund to try to beat the market. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will reveal the answer in the next section. The correct answer is B. Immediately investing preserves your exposure to compounding. Waiting for a dip or sitting in cash introduces timing risk and cash drag, while paying for high-fee active management reduces your expected net return. This timeline contrasts 2 growth paths over 3 decades, starting with $50,000. The first track assumes a 7% gross return with a 5 basis point fee, while the second track assumes the same gross return but with 1.5% in fees. As the decades pass, 10, 20, 30 years, the gap between the 2 lines widens significantly, visually demonstrating how even small annual fee differences produce a large divergence in end balances. Please note, this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial, legal, or tax advice. Individual circumstances differ. Before acting, verify your plan's rules regarding roll-ins or in-service rollovers, and confirm the receiving custodian's procedures. Understand the difference between direct and indirect rollovers, the potential for mandatory withholding, and the 60-day redeposit rule. Consider consulting a fee-only fiduciary advisor and a tax professional to tailor this guidance to your situation. Let's summarize the key points. First, fees are a predictable drag on wealth and should be minimized. Second, consolidate old accounts into a low-fee destination, either your current employer's 401k or a rollover IRA. Third, always use direct trustee-to-trustee transfers to avoid withholding and timing risks. Fourth, invest immediately upon arrival using a low-cost, broad-market target-date index fund. Finally, review expense ratios annually and keep your accounts consolidated to maintain a streamlined, low-cost structure. In closing, here is your actionable checklist. Locate every old account today. Decide whether your current 401k or a rollover IRA offers the lower cost, better menu. Call the new custodian and request a direct custodian-to-custodian transfer. Invest immediately in a low-cost target-date index fund once the money lands. Finally, set a recurring reminder to review your fees and keep them minimal. Thank you for watching. If this helped you, please like the video, share it with someone who might be overpaying fees, and subscribe for more practical wealth building guides. In the comments, tell us which step you'll take today and what topics you want covered next.